Welcome back for another deep dive. And let me tell you, today we're going deep, really deep. We're looking at some cutting-edge research on AI, specifically how to make AI more trustworthy
Especially, for those of you out there working with these question answering systems.
in your businesses, right?
Yeah, exactly. This one's for you. You know who you are. You submitted a research paper. And get this, it was just accepted last month. I mean, talk about hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
It's called, okay, are you ready for the title? Knowledge Graphs as a Source of Trust for LLM-Powered Enterprise Question Answering.
Boom!
It is quite a mouthful, but very timely, I think.
Yeah, right.
Because these large language models, LLMs, they're creating so much buzz. They can do, incredible things. Power chatbots, translate languages,
Yeah.
Even write code.
Yeah. LLMs are like everywhere these days.
Right.
But there's that one big concern, they sometimes just make things up. And that's not exactly ideal when you're trying to like make those really important business decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's really where this research comes in. So this team, they explored using these knowledge graphs to try to make LLMs, more reliable for question answering.
Okay, so for those of us who might need a little bit of a refresher, what exactly is a knowledge graph?
So think of it kind of like a map, right?
Oh, okay.
A map of information. It shows you how different pieces of data relate to each other.
Right.
And then that actually helps the LLM understand the context, and then that helps them to answer those questions accurately.
So it's not just like, throwing all this data at the LLM and hoping for the best. It's about like really organizing that data in a way that the LLM can actually use.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? The researchers, they actually found that LLMs were, get this, 3 times more accurate when they were paired with a knowledge graph. I mean, that's a big improvement.
That is a big improvement, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. So imagine, you're in the insurance industry, right? And you want to ask an AI about, let's say, policies, premiums, and claims, using a knowledge graph to represent that data.
Yeah.
Well, it dramatically improves the accuracy of the AI's answers.
That makes a lot of sense because if the LLM, understands those connections between things like customer profiles, policy types, claim histories, well, then it's going to be like way better at answering those like complex questions accurately.
Precisely. And what's so interesting here is that the way you actually build that knowledge graph, it really matters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In some cases, they had to actually adjust their knowledge graph, right, to better match how the LLM thinks for better accuracy.
So it's almost like you're meeting the AI halfway, right? You're structuring the knowledge in a way that makes it easier for the AI to process and understand.
Yeah. And it raises, I think, a really important question. If we're adjusting, how we structure information to suit the AI, are we sacrificing some accuracy in our understanding of the data?
It's a fascinating trade-off because we gain, more accurate answers from the AI, but potentially at the cost of like adapting our knowledge to fit the AI's limitations.
Right. Right. And the paper even mentions a specific example of this. They were modeling customer and address in 2 different ways. And one way was technically more accurate, but the LLM actually performed better with a slightly less accurate model.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. And so it really highlights like the need to find that sweet spot between like technical correctness and the LLM's processing style.
Another thing that really stood out to me in the paper was the focus on explainability. Because, nobody wants a black box AI that just spits out these answers without any reasoning, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, transparency is crucial for building trust in AI systems. So the researchers, what they did? They actually designed their system to like show its thought process, step by step, so you can actually understand how it arrived at a particular answer.
So it's not just about getting the right answer. It's about understanding like why the AI thinks that answer is correct.
Exactly. Exactly. And this transparency, it helps build trust in the AI's responses. And, for our more technical listeners out there, the system can even show like the specific query and the data mappings that it used. So you get a really deep dive into the AI's reasoning.
Now, I imagine all of this becomes even more critical when you're talking about business applications, right? Because businesses, they need to be confident that the AI is using terms and definitions consistently with how they operate.
You've hit on a key point, data governance. Yeah. Businesses have different departments using very specific terminology, right?
Yeah.
So ensuring that the AI aligns with their like business glossary is crucial.
Okay.
I mean, imagine the chaos if the AI is using a different definition of customer than let's say the sales team.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I think,
That's where this start small approach comes in,
yeah,
right? The paper recommends focusing on a few, key business questions first, rather than trying to implement this for, everything at once.
exactly. They even provide a framework for like prioritizing questions based on complexity and potential impact, right?
Yeah.
It's about starting with the most valuable use cases
Yeah.
and then demonstrating the value of this approach before you scale up.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yep.
This is a lot to unpack. Where do we even begin with building these knowledge graphs and making sure everything aligns?
Well, you don't have to boil the ocean, as they say. You start with a small set of really important business questions that you need the AI to answer reliably.
So, for example, what's our customer churn rate?
Yeah.
Or which products are the most profitable? Those are great starting points
Excellent.
because they're, specific and they have clear business value.
Exactly. Once you have those questions in mind, then you can start, building the knowledge graph around those specific needs. It's about focusing on the most, valuable pieces of information first, and then gradually expanding outward.
That's a relief. It makes this whole process seem much more approachable. But what about the technical side of things? Do you need a whole team of AI experts to make this work?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. There are tools and platforms available that can
Yeah.
really help you get started with knowledge graphs and LLMs without needing a massive team of AI specialists. It's more about the mindset and the commitment to building a trustworthy AI system than it is about having unlimited resources, I think.
So even smaller businesses can benefit from this approach if they have the right strategy and tools in place. That's encouraging.
Absolutely. And the potential benefits are huge. Imagine having an AI that can answer complex business questions accurately, explain its reasoning clearly, and even help you uncover those hidden insights that you might have missed otherwise.
It's like having an AI partner, right, that can help you make better decisions faster and with more confidence.
Exactly. And that's why this research is so groundbreaking. It's not just about, improving AI accuracy. It's about building trust and making AI a more, valuable and reliable tool for businesses of all sizes.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already. We've talked about, the importance of these knowledge graphs, the need for data governance, and this start small approach. But what about testing? How do you ensure that your LLM-powered question answering system is actually working as intended?
That's a great question, and it brings us to one of the biggest challenges with LLMs.
Hmm.
Their outputs, they can be unpredictable,
Right,
because they're constantly learning and evolving.
right.
And so traditional software testing methods, they don't quite cut it
Yeah.
because you're not just checking for a single, right answer. You're checking for consistency
Hmm.
and making sure that the AI is staying within the bounds of what's acceptable.
So how do you even begin to test a system that doesn't always give you the same answer? It sounds like you need a whole new approach to testing.
You're exactly right. It's a very different way of thinking about testing. You're not just looking for the right answer. You're
Yeah.
you're looking for consistent reasoning, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that the AI is applying the knowledge from the knowledge graph correctly, in different contexts.
That's fascinating. It sounds like testing with LLMs is more about evaluating the AI's understanding of a concept than just checking if it can produce the same output every time.
Exactly. It's a much more nuanced approach. And it brings us to another, I think, really interesting point. When do you actually need a full-blown knowledge graph? And when can you, get away with a simpler approach? The paper touches on this debate of small semantics versus larger semantics,
So it's like choosing the right tool for the job, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes a simpler approach is sufficient, while other times you need the full power of a knowledge graph to really unlock the AI's potential.
Precisely. It all depends on the, complexity of the questions you're asking and the level of accuracy and explainability that you need.
This is all starting to feel like it requires a pretty deep understanding of AI and knowledge graphs. Is this something that only big tech companies with tons of resources can do?
Not at all. Not at all. Remember that start small philosophy we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
That applies here too.
Yeah.
You can begin with a small, focused knowledge graph, right?
Okay.
And then gradually expand it as your needs, your understanding grows. Plus, there are some fantastic tools and platforms available that can really, help you get started without requiring a huge team of AI experts.
So it's more about the mindset and the commitment to building a trustworthy AI system than it is about having unlimited resources.
Exactly. And the benefits of doing so can be enormous. Imagine having an AI that can answer conference business questions accurately, explain its reasoning clearly, and even help you uncover hidden insights that you might have missed otherwise.
That's the dream, right? It's like having, like you said, an AI partner that can help you make better decisions faster and with more confidence.
And that's why this research is so groundbreaking. It's not just about improving AI accuracy. It's about building trust and
Yeah.
making AI a more valuable and reliable tool for businesses of all sizes.
Mm.
Now, we've talked a lot about using a single LLM with a knowledge graph, but what about the future of this field? Where do you see things headed?
That's a great question. One area that I find particularly exciting is the development of these multi-agent systems. Imagine like a team of AIs working together, each with its own like specialized skills and knowledge,
Yeah.
collaborating to solve complex problems. It's like taking the concept of teamwork to a whole new level.
Exactly. And the possibilities are truly, truly endless. You have one AI that specializes in natural language processing, right?
Right.
Another one that's a master of data analysis, and yet another one that excels at predicting future trends. They could all work together,
Yeah.
to provide you with a much more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of your business.
So it's not just about having like one super intelligent AI. It's about having a diverse team of AIs that can complement each other's strengths and weaknesses
Yeah.
and collaborate to achieve a common goal.
Precisely. This kind of collaboration could lead to some incredible breakthroughs in areas like decision making, problem solving, and even creativity. It's a really exciting area of research.
It certainly is. Now, did the researchers in this paper actually build and test these multi-agent systems, or is it more of a theoretical concept at this point?
The paper itself focuses on using a single LLM paired with a knowledge graph. Multi-agent systems are more of a forward-looking concept that they highlight as a promising area for future research. They're essentially planting the seeds for what's possible down the road.
So it's like saying, "Hey, we've figured out how to make one AI really smart and trustworthy, but imagine what we could do with a whole team of them."
Exactly. And that's what makes this research so valuable. It's not just about, solving today's problems. It's about paving the way for even more innovative and transformative applications of AI in the future.
That's a great segue to my next question.
Hmm.
Did the researchers uncover any like surprising or unexpected findings during their research? Anything that made them go like, "Wow, we didn't see that coming."
One of the most interesting discoveries was just how important knowledge engineering is to the success of this approach. They initially thought that having the right data was enough, but they quickly learned that structuring the knowledge graph in a way that the LLM can understand is absolutely critical.
So it's not just about having like a library of information. It's about organizing that library in a way that the AI can easily, find and use the information that it needs.
Exactly. They even had to adjust their knowledge graph sometimes to match the LLM's, thinking style,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't the most technically accurate way to represent the data.
It's like realizing you have to speak the AI's language, so to speak, to get the best results. It highlights how important it is to understand the nuances of how LLMs process information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to structure knowledge in a way that complements their strengths.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the bigger picture.
Mm.
If we're starting to see that AI needs us to adjust how we structure knowledge, what does that say about the future of how we organize information as humans?
That's a profound question, and it's one that I think we're only beginning to grapple with. It raises the possibility that we might start to see a convergence between how we as humans organize information and how AI systems process it.
So instead of just adapting our knowledge to fit the AI, we might start to learn from the AI and adopt some of its organizational principles in our own thinking and systems.
It's certainly a possibility as AI systems become more sophisticated and integrated into our lives. They could influence how we structure data, build ontologies, and even conceptualize knowledge itself.
That's both exciting and a little bit unsettling, isn't it? It's like we're entering a new era of coevolution between humans and AI, where we're learning from each other and shaping each other's understanding of the world.
It's a remarkable prospect, and it underscores the importance of continued research and exploration
Hmm.
in this field. We need to understand not just the technical aspects of AI, but also the philosophical and societal implications of these advancements.
Well said. And I think this research paper is a fantastic step in that direction. It's not just about making AI more accurate, it's about making it more trustworthy, transparent, and aligned with human values.
And for our listeners who want to dive deeper into the technical details of this research, I highly encourage you to check out the full paper. It's packed with insights and really gets into the nuts and bolts of how knowledge graphs can be used to enhance LLM-powered question answering systems.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to include a link to the paper in the show notes. And as always, we love hearing from our listeners. What are your thoughts on this research? Do you see knowledge graphs as a key to unlocking the full potential of AI in a business setting? Share your insights and questions on our social media channels. We're eager to keep this conversation going.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of knowledge and AI.
And remember, the future of AI is in our hands. Let's build it together responsibly and thoughtfully to create a world where AI empowers us to make better decisions, solve complex problems, and ultimately live better lives.
It really does feel like we're on the cusp of a new era in AI. But before we get, too carried away with all these future possibilities, let's bring it back to the here and now. You mentioned testing, right? Being a challenge with LLMs. What did the researchers find worked well?
That's a great point. We can't just, assume that these systems are working flawlessly, right? Especially in a business setting where accuracy is so critical. The paper highlighted how traditional, software testing methods don't quite fit with LLMs
Yeah.
because their outputs can vary.
Right. Imagine you ask an LLM the same question twice, and you get two slightly different answers. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong, but it does mean we need new ways to evaluate these systems.
So how did the researchers approach testing? It sounds like a tricky problem to solve.
One method they used was to focus on the consistency of the LLM's responses. Even if the exact wording varied, they checked if that core meaning and supporting facts remained consistent, across multiple runs.
That makes sense. You're not, looking for a word for word match, but rather checking if the AI is consistently applying that knowledge. It's learned from the knowledge graph. It's like checking if a student, truly understands a concept, even if they explain it in slightly different ways each time.
Exactly. And they also tested to make sure the AI wasn't just spitting back like memorized facts, right? From
Yeah.
the knowledge graph. They want to see if it could actually reason and draw inferences,
Yeah.
based on the relationships and the context within the knowledge graph.
So if you asked the AI, like which customers are most likely to renew their policies, it should just give you, like a list of customers who have renewed in the past. It should also consider other relevant information like demographics or purchasing history, right? And make a more informed prediction.
That's a great example. You want to see like evidence that the AI is truly,
Hmm.
understanding the information and applying it in a meaningful way, not just, regurgitating facts.
This all sounds very promising, but I'm also curious about the practical side of things. Let's say you're a business leader who's intrigued by this research. Where do you even begin?
Remember that start small approach that we discussed earlier.
Uh-huh.
That applies here as well. Identify a few key business questions that are really crucial for your company and focus on those first.
So something like what are our top sales leads for the next quarter, or what are the emerging trends in our industry?
Yeah.
Questions that can really impact the bottom line.
Exactly. Then you can start, building a knowledge graph around those specific questions and gradually expand from there. It's a much more manageable approach than trying to, tackle everything at once.
That makes sense. It seems like building trust in AI is an ongoing process, right? You start small, demonstrate the value, and then gradually build from there.
Precisely. And as you gain experience,
Mhm.
you can start exploring more more advanced applications like these multi-agent systems, right, where multiple AIs work together to solve complex problems.
Now, we touched on multi-agent systems earlier, and I have to admit that's the part that really captured my imagination. It's like having a whole team of AI experts, at your fingertips.
It is a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
Imagine an AI specializing in financial analysis, collaborating with another AI that's focused on market trends, right?
Mhm.
To to provide you with these comprehensive investment recommendations. I mean, the potential for innovation is just incredible.
It sounds like science fiction come to life, but realistically, how far away are we from seeing these multi-agent systems in action?
Well, while multi-agent systems are still largely in the research phase, I think the progress in AI is happening at such a rapid pace
Yeah.
that I think we'll start seeing practical applications
Hmm.
sooner than we might think.
That's exciting. It makes you wonder what other breakthroughs are
Yeah.
just around the corner. Speaking of breakthroughs, was there anything in this research that really surprised the researchers themselves? Did they encounter any unexpected findings?
It's interesting. One of the biggest surprises for them was just how much the structure of the knowledge graph impacted the LLMs, you know, performance. They initially assumed that having the right data was enough, but it turned out that organizing that data in a way that makes sense to the AI is crucial.
It's almost like realizing you have to speak the AI's language, so to speak, to get the best results.
Yes, it highlights just how important, the knowledge engineering is to this whole approach.
And this makes me think, if we're adapting how we structure knowledge for AI, could that also change how we humans organize information in the future?
That's a very intriguing thought. It suggests that the evolution of AI could influence our own,
Oh, there.
cognitive processes and how we approach knowledge management.
It's a bit mind-bending, isn't it? The lines between human intelligence and artificial intelligence are becoming increasingly blurred.
It certainly raises some profound questions about the future of knowledge and how we interact with it. And I think that's what makes this research so compelling. It's not just about, improving AI. It's about exploring the very nature of knowledge itself.
Well said. This has been a truly fascinating deep dive. But before we wrap up, there's one more question I have to ask. The researchers talked about this pay-as-you-go approach to implementing knowledge graphs. Can you explain what that means in practical terms?
Absolutely. The idea is to start with a small focused knowledge graph,
Mm.
right? That addresses a specific business need, and then gradually expand it over time as you gain experience and see the value.
So it's not about building a massive, all-encompassing knowledge graph right out of the gate. It's about taking a more iterative approach.
Exactly. Start with a small, well-defined problem that you can solve with a knowledge graph, right?
Yeah.
Demonstrate the value of this approach, and then use that success to justify, further investment in expanding your knowledge graph.
It's like building a house, right? You start with a solid foundation and then add rooms and features over time as your needs evolve.
That's a great analogy, and just
Sure.
like building a house, building a knowledge graph requires careful planning and execution. You need to
Right.
involve the right people, define your goals clearly, and choose the right tools and technologies for the job.
It sounds like teamwork is crucial here, right? You need data engineers, data scientists, business analysts, and knowledge engineers all working together to create a knowledge graph that aligns with the business's needs.
You're absolutely right. Building a knowledge graph is not a solo endeavor. It requires a collaborative effort from people with diverse skills and perspectives.
And this collaborative approach is also important for ensuring that the knowledge graph remains, accurate and up to date over time.
Absolutely. Knowledge is not static. It's constantly, evolving, and your knowledge graph needs to reflect that.
So it's not just about building the knowledge graph. It's about maintaining it and keeping it relevant.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the importance of data governance. Having clear processes for managing and updating your data
Yeah.
is crucial for ensuring the long-term success of your knowledge graph.
Now, I'm curious, from a business perspective, what are some of the key benefits of using, knowledge graphs and LLMs for question answering?
Well, one of the most, obvious benefits is improved accuracy and efficiency. Imagine being able to get, quick, reliable answers to complex business questions without having to sift through mountains of data manually.
It's like having an AI research assistant
Yeah,
who can instantly analyze data and provide you with the insights you need to make those informed decisions.
exactly. And beyond just, answering questions, knowledge graphs and LLMs can also help you identify patterns and trends that you might not have, noticed otherwise.
It's like having an AI detective who can uncover hidden clues in your data and help you solve, those complex business problems.
That's a great way to put it. And as AI technology continues to evolve, I think we'll see even more, creative and innovative applications of knowledge graphs and LLMs.
I'm excited to see what the future holds. But for now, let's bring it back to the research paper we've been discussing. What would you say are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the most important takeaway is that knowledge graphs have the potential to make LLMs significantly more reliable and trustworthy for question answering in a business context.
It's not just about having lots of data. It's about structuring that data in a way that the AI can understand and use effectively.
Exactly. And it's also about starting small, focusing on specific business needs, and then gradually building up your knowledge graph and AI capabilities over time.
It's a journey, not a destination.
That's a great way to put it. And as with any journey, the key is to start with a clear destination in your mind and to take things one step at a time.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of knowledge graphs and LLMs. But before we go, I have one final question for you. If we're moving towards a future where AI plays an increasingly important role in knowledge management, what are some of the ethical considerations we need to keep in mind?
That's a crucial question, and one that we need to be, you know,
Yeah.
actively discussing as we develop and deploy these technologies. One of the biggest ethical considerations is ensuring that AI systems are fair, unbiased, and transparent in their decision making.
We need to be, careful not to create AI systems that perpetuate existing biases or discriminate against
Now,
against certain groups of people.
exactly, and we also need to consider the impact of AI on employment and the workforce.
Yeah.
As AI systems become more capable, they may automate tasks that were previously,
No.
done by humans.
It's important that we think about ways to prepare the workforce for these changes and ensure that everyone has the opportunity to benefit from the advancements in AI.
Absolutely, and finally, we need to remember that AI systems are tools, and like any tool, they can be used for good or bad. It's
Yeah.
is our responsibility to ensure that AI is used ethically and for the benefit of all humankind.
Well said. This has been a truly thought-provoking conversation, and I appreciate you sharing your expertise with us.
It's been my pleasure. I always enjoy talking about the fascinating intersection of knowledge and AI.
And for our listeners who are eager to delve deeper into this topic, we'll be sure to include links to the research paper and other relevant resources in the show notes.
Excellent. And we encourage you to reach out to us on social media if you have any questions or comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this exciting field.
Now, before we wrap up entirely, let's shift our focus to the future. What are some of the emerging trends in knowledge graphs and LLMs that you're particularly excited about?
There are so many exciting developments happening,
Yeah.
right? One trend that I'm particularly interested in is the growing use of knowledge graphs in areas like drug discovery and personalized medicine.
That's fascinating. How are knowledge graphs being used in those fields?
Researchers are using knowledge graphs to map out the complex relationships between, you know, genes, diseases, and drugs.
Yeah.
This can help them identify potential,
Oh.
drug targets,
Yeah.
predict drug side effects,
Yeah.
and develop personalized, treatment plans.
It sounds like knowledge graphs are playing a crucial role in advancing medical research and improving patient care.
Absolutely. Another trend that I'm following closely is the development of more sophisticated knowledge representation techniques. Researchers are exploring new ways to capture and represent knowledge, that go beyond the traditional graph-based models.
So it's not just about connecting dots on a graph anymore. It's about developing richer and more nuanced representations of knowledge.
Exactly. These advancements in knowledge representation could lead to even more powerful and versatile, you know, AI systems.
And that brings us to another fascinating area, the intersection of knowledge graphs and LLMs with other emerging technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality.
That's right. Imagine being able to interact with a knowledge graph in a virtual environment, right? Or use augmented reality
Yeah.
to overlay information from a knowledge graph
Right.
onto the real world. The possibilities for learning, exploration, and problem solving are endless.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a truly transformative shift in how we access and interact with knowledge.
I completely agree. The future of knowledge is incredibly exciting, and I believe that knowledge graphs and LLMs will play a key role in shaping that future.
This has been an incredibly enlightening conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of knowledge and AI.
Yeah.
Until next time, it really is. It's amazing to think about how these advancements could change the world around us. We've talked about the technical side of these knowledge graphs and LLMs, but what about the human element? How do we ensure that these technologies are used responsibly and ethically?
That's a crucial question. As with any powerful tool, right?
Mm.
We need to be mindful of the potential impact of AI on society.
You're right. Yeah, it's not just about making AI smarter. It's about making sure that it's aligned with our values
Yeah.
and used for good.
Exactly. One of the biggest, I think, ethical considerations is fairness.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that AI systems are free from, bias
Hmm.
and don't perpetuate, those existing inequalities.
That makes sense. Yeah, we don't want AI systems that discriminate against certain groups of people or make decisions that unfairly disadvantage some individuals over others.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also need to consider the impact of AI on employment and the workforce, right?
Yeah.
As AI systems become, more capable, they may automate tasks that were previously done by humans.
It's important that we think about ways to prepare the workforce for these changes and ensure that everyone has the opportunity to benefit from the advancements in AI.
I completely agree. We need to invest in education and training programs that equip people with the skills they need
Mhm.
to thrive in an AI-powered world.
Yeah. And beyond, those economic implications, there are also broader, societal questions to consider. How will AI change our relationship with knowledge and information? How will it impact our decision-making processes?
Those are excellent questions. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, it's important to have open and honest conversations about its potential impact on our values, our culture, and our future as a society.
This has been a truly thought-provoking discussion, and it's clear that knowledge graphs and LLMs are poised to have a profound impact on how we live, work, and interact with the world around us.
I agree. It's an exciting time to be involved in this field, and I'm eager to see what the future holds.
Now, for our listeners who are feeling inspired to learn more, where can they go to dive deeper into this topic?
Well, the first step would be to check out the full research paper that we've been discussing. It's packed with technical details and insights that'll give you a deeper understanding of how knowledge graphs and LLMs work together. We'll be sure to include a link to the paper in the show notes.
Perfect. And beyond the research paper, are there any other resources that you'd recommend?
Absolutely. There are some fantastic online courses and tutorials available that can teach you the fundamentals of knowledge graphs and LLMs, and there are also many active online communities where you can connect with other people who are interested in this field and share your knowledge and learn from others.
Those are great suggestions, and of course we encourage our listeners to reach out to us on social media if they have any questions or comments. We love hearing from you.
We do. And if you're working on a project related to knowledge graphs or LLMs, we'd be happy to connect and learn more about what you're doing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that the future of AI is not predetermined. It's something that we're all shaping together,
Yeah.
through our choices, our actions, and our ongoing conversations about the role we want AI to play in our lives.
That's a powerful message. It reminds us that we all have a responsibility to engage with these technologies thoughtfully and ethically and to work together to create a future where AI benefits,
Yeah.
all of humanity.
Well said. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to discuss this fascinating topic with you and our listeners.
The pleasure was all mine. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of knowledge graphs and LLMs. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.